we're here on the Ceratizit stand and we're going to talk all about aluminium tooling. But this interview is going to be a little bit different because halfway through we are going to swap roles. But first, what are we talking about to start us off with?
Yeah, you see here part of the product line for aluminum machining. We have to focus here on different areas. We need to be very, very sharp edged. We need to remove a lot of material, but we also need a nice surface that the aluminum chips are not sticking to the chip face. So we have here specific geometries, we have specific cemented carbides, also specific coatings, especially for the application of aluminum.
Now, obviously, U-drilling must be quite a tough process in aluminium, because if it gets hot at all, it's going to stick and then it's just going to wear your inserts out.
Exactly.
So how have you solved that problem?
Yeah, there are different approaches. One approach is to have a very, very smooth surface, a polished surface, that the chip has no possibility to grab on the material. This is one part. The other part is that we use coolant. For that we have our DC line, direct cooling line, where we put the cooling agent directly there where we need it to reduce temperature and to reduce sticking tendency. And the third thing is that we use specific coatings which do not react with the aluminum and gives a very, very friction effect during the application. And with these three approaches, you can increase the lifetime significantly on these tools in the application of aluminum.
Now, talk me a little bit through your thread mills, because obviously tapping in aluminium is a little bit scary, because again, if you don't get the cooling in, but surely thread milling must be better for that application to start with.
Yeah, direct cooling is here very important. So you need to get the cooling agent directly there where it is, and it is inside the thread. And this is very important to put it there. And the cooling channels needs to be big enough to get enough volume in the process, and the chip geometry and the chip channels in these tools need to be large enough that you can get rid of the chips parallel to that. And this in combination gives you the performance and the reliability of the tools.
Now, just before we swap roles, because I know you're going to start quizzing me, can you just talk us through the new micro line?
The new micro tools are very specific for small parts and small structures. And for that you need especially the sharpness of the cutting edge, because they are really tiny, tiny. So for that we developed a very, very thin diamond-like carbon coating. You see that also on the rainbow-like shape look on the tools. And this remains the sharpness of the cutting edge, but gives you the anti-sticking effect I mentioned before, and the sharpness of the cutting tool, and also the increase of lifetime because of wear resistant, because diamond-like carbon is pretty hard. So it's not as hard as diamond itself, of course, but it gives you this extended lifetime you need to remain the nice surface quality, to keep it, and to run very reliable, because on these small parts, when you have a tool failure, you destroy your part, and we don't want that.
Right, now I'm going to hand the presenting over to you, and let's swap roles, because you're going to quiz me on the AluLine endmills.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Uwe Schleinkofer, and I'm your host now. So I've heard prior to that Tom is using our tools, so I interview him now with regard to the solid carbide milling tools and the high-speed milling tools with inserts, which are developed at Ceratizit, and I was personally involved in the development, especially of the high-speed milling tools with insert, and I'm very interested with regard to experience with these two tools during your application of these tools in the machine shop, please.
So a lot of people will know, some people might not, that before I joined MTDCNC, I was a machinist for 10 years. And we did a lot of aluminium machining. Now, I did use the AluLine endmills, and they are one of the best endmills I used. You can helix, you can ramp, you can run them without coolant, thanks to the coating you mentioned earlier. There's not much you can't do with these endmills, and as you were talking about the coating, sometimes they look that nice. You don't actually want to put them in your machine.
Because they're nice looking, huh?
Now, we'll move on to the face mills because I've shown you a video of the face mill.
Yeah, I've
obviously
seen it,
a lot of people think you're just taking the material off the top of the face mill. But I've actually helix ramped into a part with your face mill and it was absolutely fine. It loved it. Big step overs, really good chip control, again without coolant. I wouldn't recommend running it all the time without coolant. There's times and places to do it, but it's a great end mill and it's a great face mill. And it's not application specific. There's a lot you can do with it you don't think you can. But again, Ceratizit have a great bunch of tooling reps. Listen to them and listen to their advice, because without mine, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. Maybe I ignored him a few times on speeds and feeds and made it higher and higher and higher.
Which is sometimes possible, you know.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, one little story you may like is that I ran a Herco machine with a rapid on X of 24 meters a minute.
Really?
I had the AluLine end mill running at maxed rapid. So I had it cutting at 24 meters a minute.
Really? Wow, great. So it's heartwarming to hear that, because we put a lot of effort in the development of these tools, and it's really nice if you get this feedback from you. I love to hear that. So thank you very much for your response, and that was it from the Ceratizit exhibition with regard to aluminum. Thank you very much.
Thank you.